Good afternoon, everybody. This is Osiris with the Culver City News, Unk Entertainment Stones and the Culver blog, and your show host for 15 minutes. And guess what? We are live in West Hollywood with two wonderful men. They have a architectural design technological firm here in West Hollywood. This is to my left, Mr. John E. Heberling, and to the right is Keith G. Willis, the owners of this beautiful facility. So guys, let's talk about how you got started. I know you were telling me a little bit about the background of this innovative theaters, not to be mistaken with innovative artist. So go. John, you want to be first?
Sure.
Okay,
sure.
Go. Let's hear it.
Keith and I go back roughly 20 years. I'm an interior architect, and I was building homes in Palos Verdes many years ago. And that was at the very beginning of AV integration into homes. And Keith was my specialist in integration in the building of these custom homes. And we knew each other through professional work, and the years passed, and we got an opportunity to build a standalone theater for a charity project in Westlake Village. And he said, "Hey, have you ever built a standalone private theater?" I said, "No." He said, "Would you like to?" I said, "Sure." And so it started, and we built a wonderful standalone Grecian-style theater. And the rest is history, because that first theater was so interesting in those days, before the age of home theaters, that we began producing these private home theaters for people all over Southern California.
Now, Keith, you and John met a while back. Now, how long has the innovative theaters actually been here in West Hollywood?
Well, we built this building out in 2006.
Okay, so it's
and
been
before that we were in Santa Monica.
Okay, so what caused you to move? Did you find that here in this area is a better location for this type of design firm? Is that why you moved here?
It is. It's the middle of the design industry, and that's who we deal with. We deal with architects and interior designers. And a lot of our business, let's face it, it's in Beverly Hills and in the West Side, and it was the perfect opportunity for us to be where we, should have been all along.
Now, John mentioned that David Geffen, who is a favorite of mine, love you, Dave. Anyway, David Geffen presented this building. It was a charitable donation from him to the Russian community. You were saying?
That's correct. When we took over the building, there was a big marble plaque on the front, dedicated by David Geffen to his parents and to the community. And in the course of doing our reconstruction of the building, we took that down to open up the glass front, and we have since taken that plaque and taken it over to the Russian Shabbat that is now about 4 blocks to the west, and presented it to the people there.
That's a wonderful thing. Now, to backtrack a little bit, both of you have background in art, drawing, designing, I'm assuming sketching. I know that Keith paints. Do you paint as well, John?
Somewhat. I go, frankly, I'm more three-dimensional, and that's what got me into architecture.
Yeah, you led me right into my next question. So how did you take painting, drawing, and sketching and turn it into like this fabulous, high-end, over-the-top technology facility that is able to present live theater in the highest level of acoustic sounds?
It was just progression. It's learning over the years. I'm a trained engineer, and John's trained interior
There we go. I
architect.
knew you were trained at something.
Yeah. And UCLA, and John went to Long Beach State.
Okay, so are you both Californians?
John is from the Midwest, from Chicago.
Okay, you did say Illinois,
Yes.
And you are from?
San Francisco.
Okay, yeah, you did say San Francisco.
So the whole field of what we do, we were part of the very beginning of it, and the field has grown up sort of around us, and we've sort of been on the leading edge of it, and thus this facility was sort of, in 76, was sort of on the leading edge of something like this, and we've just kept it up with new technology over time, and so yeah, that's sort of how this all began.
And what kind of traffic do you get here? What kind of traffic, what kind of people visit your company? What kind of people do you cater to? Or does somebody have to be a gazillionaire to get your services? Or is it somebody that can use a reasonable budget and still get something, you have a scale that can accommodate anyone?
They have to really desire it, essentially. It's not inexpensive, obviously. But as far as traffic, I would say it's probably 50-50 architects, designers, and the other 50 is the end users who have heard about us or found out about us, or it's about 50-50. The table where we are typically is architects and interior designers.
Okay.
Because this is where we do all of our colors and the color palettes and all the fabrics and textures and all of those things.
And John looks like he want to say something because everything's in-house, right?
Yeah, it's the one
It's all
thing.
in-house.
The one thing that sort of benefits our company in doing this custom work, which is it's completely from an empty room to a finished theater, and we take it all the way. That we've streamlined the process, and that goes back to our general contracting days, where once you've let the client's cat out of the house the first time, they hate you.
Oh,
You're done. So we've found a way to actually produce most of our work off-site, finished and done, and our installations go very quickly, and as a result, they're also in terms of what it is we're producing, very efficient and economical to do, because we're not spending months and months in the house. We developed a process where we can come in and turn a room into a theater very effectively.
So I could have a theater in my home.
Well,
Yes,
sure.
you could.
You
absolutely could.
You were saying, I know the theater, it's a 3,000 square feet, right? Around that?
Yeah.
Around that
3,000.
335.
Our facility
Yes.
is 3,000.
Yeah.
3,000 square feet. And then I know that you have a theater in here that most people wouldn't know in here, but they have this beautiful theater in here. And that theater houses about how many people? How many people could
12 to
easily
14.
sit? 12 to 14
Yeah.
people in a private theater. You were also saying that on each of the acoustic settings here, I guess, I don't know a word to say with settings, it looks like there is a painting on the wall, people, but it's actually a finely designed mesh that is able to transfer sound from behind a screen to the front without you seeing it. So could you explain that to our audience?
Sure. What you were describing is actually, it's what we have called acoustic art.
Yes.
And what it is a process of using acoustic absorbers, as you would use in a theater, and using a transparent mesh fabric onto which art is printed. And it can be any subject matter at all.
Wow.
And so we do the photo work, we do the printing, and then we do the framing, so that instead of having a fabric covered wall, you now have a piece of art that performs the same function of absorbing unwanted sound.
Absorbing unwanted sound. Now that is an interesting concept. Elaborate a little bit on that. Now unwanted, I know like there's a lot of noise in the streets. There's a lot of things that go on within a facility. Oftentimes there are other workers that make various sounds during the day. How are your systems able to completely drown all of that noise out and make it just like the whole room is filled up with just the sound that we want to hear?
By absorbing, Keith can jump in on this,
Keith.
absorbing and reflecting.
Okay, Keith.
Yeah, there's ways to control sounds so that your theater sounds properly. And
what
it's-
are some of those ways? If somebody
Yeah.
wanted to come work for you, what would they have to know?
Well, there's devices, and when he was talking about unwanted sound, what he meant was things like standing waves and flutter echoes.
Oh, you're talking about actually within the realm of sound, not so much outside sound. You're talking about sound waves.
He's talking about containing sound within the environment, not isolating from outside of the environment.
Okay. So it's
So
internal.
that's two things called isolation and reinforcement.
Okay.
So there's certain techniques and certain materials that you use to be able to control the sound within the theater, so that the room sounds proper to begin with.
Okay.
And that's the most important thing in designing a theater, is incorporating the proper acoustics so that the room itself from the beginning is designed, acoustically designed properly.
And in order to do that, I would assume that you'd have to know specs. When you go into someone's home, they have to
Yeah.
give you the actual specs. And then how much does the person that you are servicing, the client, how much do they have influencing how their theater is set up?
Well, as far as sound goes, and the acoustics, they won't know anything about it, so that's our responsibility.
Okay.
But as far as sound goes, we make the recommendations for what's going to perform the best for your room, your environment, your dimensions, the shape of your room, and budgeting, and then we go from there.
Okay, so we're walking through the facility of Innovative Theaters here with my friends John and Keith. So let's go, you guys. Go this way, and we're going to talk about some of the things that we're going to be doing here. They're going to be doing, look at me, I've added myself in. You know how I am, audience. We're going to be doing here at the Innovative Theaters this year.
You know, I wanted to say that something really exciting has happened.
Like
And
what?
This year we are going to host the Innovative International Film Festival. And we're going to carry this through all through the year. With start dates, we'll give you some updates. But it's very exciting. It's a very exciting thing for us.
Okay. And
Yeah.
so, and then another question, how is the world of architect these days? What kind of field is it? Is it something that is growing with technology that's going to take it over? Or do you think that, I believe from meeting you two and seeing your facility here at Innovative Theaters, that you are probably a little bit ahead of technology or right in sync with it. So what do you think about that?
That's the idea. You know, we're trying to present something that's brand new. And we're always
Innovative.
Yeah, we're always finding materials that don't necessarily that aren't made that are perhaps made for a different purpose, but we try to find ways to incorporate them into our designs and into our purpose.
Okay.
So, you know, that we spend a lot of time doing that.
Okay, so our final question, I want you to tell us your website, anything that people that are interested in this kind of service would need in order to find you, and go.
InnovativeTheaters.com.
And that's INNOVATEVE, not the other innovative.
No, it's actually innovative, spelled the regular way.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, and
Oh.
Theaters is spelled
and
different.
theaters is THEATRES.
Yeah,
So
because
it's
there's also the
British way.
THEATER too. So yours
Yes,
is the
yes,
other
yes,
one.
yes.
And then
We
finally,
spell that probably 15 times a day.
yeah, but when I looked it up online, they had you I looked under EVE, and it was under EVE too. So maybe that's somebody else spelled
We
it that
have
way.
a lot of domains so that
Oh.
people, if they misspell it, it still
They could
goes
find
to
it.
our
Yeah, it'll
website,
still go where
yeah.
it's supposed to go. Also, do you have a Twitter? Do you have any LinkedIn accounts? Go.
We have all that. Twitter is.
What's your handle?
It's at innovative.theaters.
Okay. And
And
Facebook.
And Facebook is Innovative Theater Design.
Okay. So we got Facebook and Twitter. That should be quite enough for you
And
to
we
find
also
these
have
guys.
Innovative Theaters. They all go to the same place.
Okay, they all go to the same place. And then final question, where do you see Innovative Theaters in the next 3 years?
We're looking
What do you plan to be
innovate.
doing?
You know,
Perfect question. Perfect answer.
Yeah, I mean, we're looking to find projects that are really interesting, things
Mm-hmm.
where we can stretch our imagination, that we can really do some interesting, brand new stuff.
Okay.
That's what excites us.
Both in architecture and technology, just to be more, perhaps more specific,
Yes.
architecture is taking a very modern trend, and that's a neat challenge for us to adapt our theater designs.
Okay.
And technology is just running a mile a minute. It changes and it's morphing, and that's our challenge, is to put it together with the architecture.
And so there you have it, people. John and Keith will be running neck and neck with technology and way ahead from what I can see. This has been another Ankh Entertainment Stones in the Color of Air blog, Cover City News reporting for and 15 minutes of show. And that's a wrap.